polynomials, multiplying, FOIL, and a little bit more. When multiplying a binomial by a binomial, it is a double distribution. The first term is, then the first binomial is distributed to both terms in the second binomial, and then you take the second term in the first binomial and you distribute it to both terms in the second binomial. One way to remember this is FOIL, F-O-I-L, which stands for first, outer, inner, last, or first, outside, inside, last. Those are the two most common ways I'm familiar with that people remember FOIL. So the F and the L refer to the terms in each binomial. So the first in each one, the last in each one. The O and the I refer to all four terms combined, the outside terms and the inside terms of all four. If you multiply a binomial or more terms by a trinomial or more terms, which this is going to be bigger, right? Binomial times binomial is 2 and 2. This is 2 times 3 or bigger. You apply the same principle as FOIL. You distribute the first term in the first polynomial to all the terms in the next one. Then you distribute the second term in the first polynomial to all the next one. And then the next term to all the next one, and so on and so forth until you're done distributing all the terms in the first polynomial. And that will take care of it. Okay, so you can see this can get really big really fast. So the biggest one I'm going to do in this video is a binomial times a trinomial, 2 terms times 3 terms, right? Which results in 6 terms, and then if you can combine any, you can. If you can't, then it stays 6 terms. So here we have a binomial times a binomial, so we're going to do FOIL. And so when I say first, I'm talking about first. There's my F. X times X. That's going to be X squared. I'm even going to color code this. Then I'm going to do outer for the whole problem. There's my outer, the outside of the whole thing. X times a 5. So positive X times positive 5 is plus 5X. Then I'm going to do the inner. Inner for the whole thing is that. That's going to be my I. So then plus 4 times X is plus 4X. And if you'll notice, I could have written plus 4X here, okay? But I have a lot of students I've seen do this over the years, and I've sort of just adopted it. I used to always write everything horizontal. But a lot of my students like to line things up, so I don't want to confuse you here, but plus 4X. And then here, for last, we have plus 4 times plus 5 is plus 20. And so we do the F and the O up here and the I and the L underneath on the next row here. And then if we combine them all together, we get X squared plus 9X plus 20. Now I want you to be careful. When you put those together, that doesn't become 9X squared. You're combining like terms. When you add 5X and 4X, you get 9X. You don't. If you say $5 and $4, you don't get $9 squared. What is dollar squared anyway, right? You've never said that in your life. Why are you going to do that with X's? You get X squared here in red because you multiplied an X times an X. Those were not combining like terms. That was multiplying. That's when you add the exponents. But the 5X and the 4X are being added, so you don't change the exponents. You leave them a like term. All right. The other way this could have been written, this is the way I used to write it all the time, and if you like this better, then do this. X squared plus 5X for the outer. You know, we've already done these. I'm just writing them down. Plus 4X. And then plus 20. And then when you went to combine them, you could have said, okay, these two things go together, and I get X squared plus 9X plus 20. If the two parentheses are built the same, X and a number, the middle terms are always going to combine. So if they're built the same, if you want to know what I mean, go back and watch my addition of polynomials video. I talk about being built the same there at greater length. So here, 2X plus 7 and X plus 3. Again, it's 2 terms times 2 terms. So I'm going to do first. So 2X times X is 2X squared. And then outer, 2X times 3 is plus 6X. Then I'm going to do my inner. That's going to be 7 times X. It's going to be plus 7X. Again, I could put plus 7X here, okay? But I'm lining it up with my X's. So I'm leaving this blank. There's nothing there. I have a lot of students that put plus 7X here. Look, those are not like. Don't line those up. I put the 7X under the 6X because those are X's. They're the same. And then last, plus 7 plus 3 is plus 21. And then take this and say this is going to be 2X squared. I put those together because they're both X's. Plus 13X and then plus 21. And there is your final answer. So let's look at some more FOIL here. Again, 2 terms times 2 terms. First, outer, inner, last. Okay? So the first is going to be y squared. And then we get minus 6y. And then we get plus 2y. And this time I'll go straight horizontal across here. Plus 2 times negative 6 is minus 12. So this is my FOIL. Okay? I'll put them all on the same level there. All right? So those two now go together. They're like terms. So y squared. So this is more the horizontal method if you go back to my adding, subtracting videos. 4y. There, did it again. You got to be kidding me. There we go. Minus 12. So y squared minus 4y minus 12. Again, the two middle terms, the o and the I, combine because those are built the same. 3d minus 4d plus 3. First, outer, inner, last. 3d times 3d is 3d squared. Then you get 3d times plus 3 is plus 9d. And then you get negative 4 times d. And this time I'm going to write it vertically. That one was horizontal. This is vertical this time. And then negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Okay, again, I don't want to confuse you, but notice I'm lining things up. The only d squareds I have are here. The only constants are here. It's these terms that are alike in the middle. Don't try to put the minus 4d under here. That's not going to work. Okay? So then 3d squared plus 9 minus 4 is plus 5, and that's plus 5 what? D, and then bring down your minus 12. All right, if that confuses you, do all of them like this one. If this way confuses you, do all of them like this one. All right? Don't choose to do something in a way that confuses you. Again, we're going to keep foiling here. We're going to say first, outer, inner, last. We got first, outer, inner, last. So 2y times 7y is 14y squared. And then 2y times negative 2 is minus 4y. 5 and 7y, they're both positive, is plus 35y. And then plus 5 and minus 2 is negative 10 because you're multiplying. So that gives you 14y squared. And notice I lined up my y's. So negative 4 and positive 35, you subtract. 35 minus 4 is 31y, and it's positive because 35 is bigger. And then bring down your minus 10. Right, so once you multiply the FOIL out and you get FOIL, whether you write it this way or whether you keep writing out here with a 35y minus 10, okay, then all you're doing after that is combining like terms, if any exist, whether it's horizontal or vertical. So then we have this one. This one's built the same, but it looks kind of funny because the x's aren't first. So 2 times 1 is what? 2. And then that's first. Here's outer. 2 times plus 4x is plus 8x. Then we have this one, which is inner. That's going to be what? Minus 5x. And if it's not normal with the y's first and the number, the x first number, I may just write it out horizontal. But you can still do vertical. It still should line up if things match. And then L here is going to be minus 20x squared, right? Negative 4 times negative 5 positive 4 is negative 20. And then x times x is x squared. You add the ones together. So then these terms are both x's. They combine. So you get 2. You get plus 3x, right? 8 minus 5 is 3. That's x. And then the 8's positive, so it's positive. And then minus 20x squared. Now, this answer here is fine for me unless I'm telling you to put it in descending order, or the book does, or your software package does, or your teacher does, which means you would need the negative 20x squared first. So just be aware, if you're told descending order, you've got to turn that around, put the x squared first, the x next, and the number last. All right, so let's keep looking at some of these problems and FOIL these. So 7x squared minus 2, and then 3x squared plus 5. So this looks a little funny because it's got x squareds in it, but they're built the same. So if they're built the same, we said that the middle term should simplify, combine. So here, 7x squared and 3x squared is going to be what? 21x to the 4th power. And then 7x squared times plus 5 is plus 35x squared. Negative 2 and 3x squared is negative 6x squared. Negative 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And there's those. So I lined up my x squareds. Again, that's my O and my I. They're similar, like terms. So 21x to the fourth. Then 35 minus 6 is 29x squared. And the 35 is positive, so the 29 is positive. And then minus 10. All right, so 21x to the fourth plus 29x squared minus 10 is the final answer there. Now the next one, look at this, x squared and a number, and then it's x and a number. It's not built the same. It's not built the same. So that means that you may or may not have things that combine here. If it's not built the same, it may not combine at all. So let's look at first, outer, inner, last. So x squared times 3x is going to be 3x to the what? Third power, 2 plus 1. And then x squared times plus 4 is plus 4x squared. And then here, 2 times 3x is plus 6x. And then the plus 2 times the plus 4 is plus 8. 3x to the fourth plus 4x squared plus 6x plus 8. And that is in descending order already. If it wasn't, when it's 4 terms like that, a lot of times I'll go back and write it in descending order. Again, that's accepted in the math world. Even if it's not prescribed and said in the directions of put it in descending order, it's typically expected, but I don't always require it. If I don't say it's required, then for my class, you don't have to. All right? Unless I require it in the directions, and you'll see it. It'll say put your answers in descending order. All right, but it's just a good thing to do. I can almost assure you that your teacher, whoever's grading your paper, is going to have it written in descending order on their key when they're looking at it. All right, it's written that way on all mine. Here we have 2 terms of binomial times 3 terms of trinomial. So this is a little bit bigger. It's not FOIL. There's actually no word for this, okay? So we're going to see x plus 1 and then 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. So we have 2 terms times 3 terms. We're going to apply the same principles. So I'm going to take x times 2x squared and get what? 2x to the third. And I'm just going to do each one of these in a different color to show here. The x now times the next term. X times 3x is going to be plus 3x squared. And then we're going to take this x and multiply it times the plus 4, and we're going to get plus 4x. Plus 4x. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to say, okay, 1 times 2x squared is going to be plus 2x squared. Now, I really like to use vertical on this one, because I have an x squared already. Let's write the other x squared underneath it. You don't have to. You can keep writing plus 2x squared out here. All right, but I love this vertical method, especially on this bigger than FOIL thing, okay? And then I'm going to take the next one is going to be plus 1 times 3x is going to be plus 3x. I'm going to line my x's up there. And then the last one here is going to be what? Plus 1 times plus 4. So that's plus 4. There's nothing else like it, so I'm just going to tack it on the end out here. Right, I'm going to tack it on the end out there. So just like I have my x cubed by itself over here, I have my number by itself over here. So then bring it down. It's going to be 2x to the third. I know I'm going to bring down my plus 4, but these go together. What is plus 3 and plus 2? It's plus 5x squared. And then here, that's plus 7x plus 7x. And there's your final answer, 2x to the third plus 5x squared plus 7x plus 4. So I tried to color code that to help you, right? X times the first term, 2x squared, x times the 3x, x times the 4, 1 times all of them. That gave us 6 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 6 terms there, and then 2 sets of terms combined, so we ended up with 4 terms in our final answer. And then here we have one more of these with 2 terms times 3 terms. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to say, okay, 2m times m squared, then times this and times this, right? So 2m times m squared is 2m to the third. 2m times negative 4m is negative 8m squared. And 2m times plus 1 is plus 2m. Then we have minus 3m squared, so I'm going to put that under my m squareds. I have minus 3 times minus 4m. A negative times a negative is plus. 3 times 4 is 12, and then m. And then negative 3 times plus 1, and negative times a positive is negative. 3 times 1 is 3. So I have 2m to the third. There's nothing to combine with that, so just bring it down. And then two negatives. We add them. 8 plus 3 is 11. We keep it m squared. That's like terms. We're not changing the power here. And keep it negative. And then plus 2 and plus 12 is plus 14 what? That's right, m. And then bring down your minus 3. So hopefully this helped you with foiling a binomial times a binomial in the world of polynomials, multiplying them, or a binomial times a trinomial. And again, as these get larger, you just apply the same principle of the first term in the first one times everything in the second one, the next term times everything, the next term times everything, and eventually you'll get there even on the really, really big ones.